Welcome back to the second installment of my look at the past year's standout podcast moments. I'm Tim Tedder, and if you missed part one, you might want to catch it first. Longtime listeners will find the reminders helpful. Newcomers may discover episodes worth digging into. I'm excited about what's coming up in the recovery room. You can expect more creative elements woven into the future conversations and interviews, and maybe even some chances for you to be part of it all. I announce changes and opportunities in my weekly newsletter, so if you'd like updates on what's coming up and access to the growing list of resources, sign up for the newsletter at affairhealing.com/newsletter. I've put that link in the episode notes. All right, let's roll into another round of the best clips from 2025.
Welcome to The Recovery Room, a podcast presented by affairhealing.com.
In this healing place, in this healing place.
The first time I conducted on-the-street interviews was to ask strangers what they thought about the statement,
I love you, but I'm not in love with you.
when someone makes that declaration, what does it mean? I asked some people on the street what they thought it meant.
I love you as a person, but I don't love you enough to see myself with you for the rest of my life.
I think sometimes when you're with a person for a really long time, they change a little bit. And I think with that change, you realize that you're not really in love with that person. You love them for being with them, maybe having children with them, having a life already spent together. But you just realize that maybe as you've grown and changed throughout the years, that you're not really in love with that person.
Yeah, I think everyone wants somebody to be in love with them in a relationship. So especially if they're coming out and saying that, that's I don't know if that's, things change, of course. Everyone changes over time, but obviously that wouldn't feel very good to hear.
I think that means that they're they may not be like totally all in my opinion. Like they love the thought of being with you, but they're not really like all in with it right now.
I think it's a cop-out that you say when things are going bad and you're ready to run away from a relationship versus actually putting in the effort to rebuild it.
When Sharon and I discussed gaslighting in episode 6, we explained the meaning of the word by reviewing its origin. The word was taken from a play and movie in the 1930s and 40s. Here are a couple of the segments from that episode.
And the reason that is an effective manipulation tool is because if someone is doubting their own ability to really adequately assess a situation, and they take the gaslighter's opinions as fact above their own, then they're easy to manipulate. And then the person that's doing the gaslighting gets what they want because they are throwing that person off, and then the person gives up.
Yeah, the responsibility shifts from the person that should be accepting responsibility for whatever issues are going on. The attention goes off of them to the person that's the victim in this sense.
Right.
And they start feeling like, what? Am I really the one responsible, or am I the one that's just got things mixed up? Or
right.
They get confused, and it feels like crazy.
Yep.
Let's talk about where that term gaslighting comes from.
Okay.
The term gaslighting comes from a stage play that was adapted into 2 suspense movies that came out in the 1940s, both titled Gaslight. The second and more popular movie was released in 1944, starring Ingrid Bergman in the role of Paula and Charles Boyer as Gregory. The movie also features Angela Lansbury in the role of a teenage maid. The story takes place in 1875 London, when streets and homes were lit by gas lanterns instead of electricity. Near the start of the movie, we watch the whirlwind romance and marriage of Paula and Gregory, full of hope and joy, as it begins to turn into something more troubling. We suspect that Gregory is driven by a motive unknown to his wife. We see glimpses of his flawed character, but Paula remains completely unaware. In fact, her husband hides the truth and moves towards his private intentions by causing her to doubt her own thinking. He starts by taking objects and convincing her that she is responsible for moving or losing them.
You've been forgetful lately.
Forgetful?
Well, losing things and... Oh, now don't look so worried, Paula. It's nothing. You get tired.
Yes, that's probably what it is. I get tired. I'm tired.
Paula slowly begins to question her own mental stability. Not everyone has an affair for the same reason. In episode 14, I discussed 6 primary motives that often drive the decision to cheat. Here's one of them. If an alarm motive drove your affair, it's a signal that something in your marriage was broken, and instead of repairing it, you turned away from it. So ask yourself these questions. What issues in my marriage really need to be addressed? Did I make genuine, consistent attempts to address them in a way that focused on change, not just blaming my partner? And here's the tough one. How did I contribute to the disconnection? Oftentimes in an alarm affair, a lot of focus and criticism has been directed towards the marriage or the marriage partner. Now it's time to ask, how did I contribute to the problems that were in my marriage? Until those questions are answered honestly, the alarm will keep going off. When I wrote the lyrics for the song Lovely Fruit, I was writing to an earlier version of myself, the man swept up in the limerence of an affair. Suzanne Janke and I unpacked the song back in episode 9. What you're about to hear is what I wish I could have said to that former version of me, even knowing he probably wouldn't have listened.
Yeah, I mean, the whole picture of this, I just have the person that's just so focused on just how good this fruit is that they fail to recognize, this tree doesn't look too healthy. And even that vision, I talk about the juice flowing down. And as it flows down, it just goes into this soil that's become just this muck, this muddy muck, not from just that person coming to the tree and eating the fruit, from all the people standing around going, oh, this fruit is so good. But it's just, they're all standing in this mucky stuff and that juice, going down into the ground, not feeding and to be the nutrition for a healthy tree, but it just becomes all part of that cycle of poison that just happens over and over again. And everybody thinks like, oh no, I've got the fruit here. But if they could just pull back and see, you're standing at the same tree that so many people, you're standing in the same muck and you're eating the same poison that so many people have eaten before.
Yeah.
Pick from the tree, bite its lovely fruit, let the juice flow down, muddy the soil, poison the lovely fruit, feel the juice run down, muddy the soil, poison the root.
Struggling to get a full night's rest is a familiar challenge after betrayal. In episodes 19 and 20, I sat down with sleep specialist Jana Vriesinga to talk about finding your way back to healthy sleep. I encourage you to visit the episode pages to see links to the free resources she shared with our listeners. What about people who describe dreams that are distressing or the nightmares, things like that, which can be common for some people when they're going through this kind of trauma?
Yeah, very good question. And I can definitely speak from personal experience. I can recall, I had several intense nightmares about the father of my children and me being in situations and where, the emotional stress just hit me in my dream. So one specific one, which I think is very telling, is that I was dreaming that we're driving down a winding road in a holiday destination that we'd actually been to in the past in Portugal, and that he actually drove me off the cliff. And that's very telling, right? Because that's actually how I felt. Like, you're making these decisions that are deeply impacting my life, the life of the children. I've really felt that he was driving me off a cliff. It's very normal to have these dreams. It can be distressing if you think those dreams are a problem. If you think it's also taking over my dreams. This is so stressful. I'm a total mess. It shouldn't be this way. I'm broken beyond repair, that even my dreams get taken over by this topic, by this crisis in my life. But I really want to reframe this for people, because actually those dreams are a sign of healthy processing of what's going on in your life. And I think if we look at it that way, it's still distressing. You'll still wake up and go like, wow, that was some dream. That was intense. And you probably still feel the emotion in your body. But if you can then reframe it saying like, this is actually healthy. I'm moving forward. This is overnight therapy. It was an intense therapy session, just like, a therapy session during the day can be intense. But you can still say it was intense, but it was helpful. And I'd really encourage your listeners to look at their nightmares through that lens. Little side note, for like severe PTSD that has been reported, for example, with people who've been in war situations, if the same dream keeps coming up again and again, night after night, over and over again, that's actually a sign that your system can't process it, can't go beyond that point. And then it's actually time, I think, to look for help. And there's actually even sleep coaches and therapists who also have additional training in dealing with nightmares and how to reprogram them. Unless that's the case, regard it as a healthy sign of healing.
Couples who rush to patch things up without digging into what really needs attention often miss the more profound healing that leads to lasting change. In episode 24, I urge listeners to pause the fix-it instinct and spend time uncovering what's been buried, not to feel shame or blame, but to clear a path toward a more genuine intimacy. Here's an audio sketch that brings that idea to life.
Oh, okay, that's the last board. We nailed this one across. That should seal it. No more basement.
Jeff, before you covered up, can we at least look around down there?
Oh, no, we don't need to. I told you about it. I admitted it. I'm never going back there again. That's what matters.
You know we're not going anywhere. Right, Jeff?
Did you hear that?
It's just the pipes. Old houses, they make noises.
How long have you had that basement?
I don't know. A while? Yeah, it doesn't matter now.
But when I peeked in, I thought I saw other doors down there.
They're locked. They're nothing. Forget them.
We'll show you another way down here.
There's always another way.
Jeff, who is that?
Shut up. I'm busy.
Jeff, were you just talking to it?
Just talking to myself. Construction stress.
Oh, I thought I knew you, but now I'm not so sure. I mean, it seems important to me to know exactly what's down there.
You'll be back, Jeff. You always come back.
No, I won't.
I'm not sure. I think maybe we should get some help and find out if there's
better this way. Once this is closed, we'll never need to think about it again.
You don't need to go down there. Nothing left to see down there. I swear I'll never go down there. At least I hope I won't go back.
That's exactly the trap so many couples fall into after infidelity. The betrayed partner keeps asking, but what's really down there? And the unfaithful one insists, well, don't worry about it. I've sealed it off. Let's just move forward. But betrayed partners stay unsettled. Even years later, they describe walking on shaky ground because deep down they wonder, what if there's another way in? What if another basement is being dug even deeper?
You don't need to go down there. Nothing left to see down there. I swear I'll never go down there. At least I hope I won't go back.
Author and coach Annette Chesney joined me in episode 24 to talk about what it's like to be in a relationship with a narcissist. She offered a clear explanation of various stages of narcissism and suggested some helpful tools to listeners. Use the link in the episode notes to access these resources.
How often in your work do you encounter infidelity as part of the narcissist pattern?
Frequently, very frequently. So narcissists, a lot of times, they don't like anyone to get too close. They're a stage actor, in everything they do. So they can play whatever persona they want for approval, to build trust and rapport, whatever they need to do. And especially like when you get in that category 3 realm, then it's extremely calculated that they're doing this. They know exactly what they're doing. And if someone gets too close and starts seeing through them, starts calling them out on it, then because they are so empty, they need to move on to the next one. It's going to fill their bucket. So they'll move on to someone else. They'll start the flirtation, the titillation of the infatuation thing. It's like a drug. And so they want to enjoy that. They want to carry on. And sometimes they just like the thrill of, ooh, will I get caught? And they're so bold about it at times that they'll even become more and more obvious just to see how long will it take her to notice. And then, let's pick a fight. Yeah, bring it on, the fight. I want to, because now I'm going to rip you to shreds. It's really ugly. And, with these kind of people, there's a lot of dual diagnosis stuff that goes on too. So it's not unusual to have addictive behaviors of one form or another, and affairs and, sexual addiction, all this kind of stuff going on. It's really, really common.
In the final episode of the year, episode 35, we explained the tug of war inside someone who's drifting toward an affair. Those rival inner voices I named the fog and the light. It was also the first time I let audio sketches take center stage to tell the story. Here's a moment from Mark and Emma's slow slide into infidelity.
Emma, this is great. You took this in a new direction. I love it.
Thanks. I worked on it all night.
And you didn't get any grief from your husband?
From Steve? Are you kidding? He hardly pays any attention to what I'm doing.
I'm sorry.
It is what it is. What?
Nothing. None of my business.
No, it's okay. What were you thinking?
Well, it's just strange how the people that are close to us kind of lose sight of who we are. I mean, I don't even know you that well, but I can see so many things about you that are interesting, admirable. But your husband doesn't even notice?
And your marriage is different?
Well, that's the thing. You've said things to me about me that my wife never says.
Doesn't it feel good to admit this? She gets it. It's good to talk about it with someone who understands. Maybe you can even give each other some good insights.
You're starting to feel attracted to Emma. This isn't a safe place for this conversation. Cindy trusts you not to talk like this with other women.
I often hear from people wrestling with shame in the wake of an affair. The partner who broke trust may feel overwhelmed by their own failures, especially while facing the hurt they caused their spouse and children. And the betrayed partner isn't immune to shame either. Many worry that others will judge their marriage or wonder why they'd stay with someone who betrayed them. I've come to believe that there's a force stronger than shame: grace. It's something I needed badly in my own journey. My lyrics to this song, The Light of Grace, grew out of that season, out of failure, reflection, and the slow realization that grace can shape something good from even the hardest places. I'll close the episode with the full song, The Light of Grace.
As you were talking, Tim, I was thinking about the person who found this podcast and is maybe not the person directly involved in the affair, meaning, perhaps it's a sister of a betrayed woman, or it's a friend or coworker that just wants to offer support and needs help, saying the right words. What I'm curious about is if you could go back to that room of whispers, now with perspective, 25 years of perspective, what would you go back and tell those people that were in a lot of ways propelling the pain that you were already experiencing.
Well, those people can listen to songs like this and learn something if they want to from it. I don't feel compelled to go back to the whisperers and try to correct them. Honestly, I think for a lot of people, they may not even want to hear that from someone like me. Instead, if I could go back to that room where the people walked past me crying, I would want to be the person that came up alongside of me and sat down, put his arm around me, and maybe didn't say anything, but sat there and just comforted me or wept with me or whatever. I want to be that person. And maybe that communicates something. Maybe not. I don't know. But that's grace. That's how we offer grace to people. That person coming along, sitting next to me, doesn't have to condone what I've done. They just see me as this hurt human that's in need of comfort, care, and compassion. And maybe they've even been hurt by the choices I've made, but they're willing to come along and sit and offer compassion and grace. I don't need the voice of, well, what do you expect because of your sin? It's the voice of, I know what you've done, but I care for you anyway.
Beautiful. That's grace.
Yep. Let's listen to the song.
With one page, the story turns.